Hi, this is Zena Harris.
And I'm Mark Rabin.
Welcome to the tie-in. Hi, Mark. Good to see you.
Hey, Zena. We're back.
Oh,
We're back in
gosh.
action.
Back in action, if you can say that. Yeah, it's been a quiet day for me, but
It's a
I
holiday. It's a
it's a
holiday today.
holiday in
We're recording
Canada,
this.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know about the States, but things are
Yeah.
still motoring along.
Totally, totally. Yeah. And it's I got back home last night after being in LA for a week last week.
hmm
Um, happy to be home.
Yeah. It's when you're in LA that you realize why autonomous vehicles need to be a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Do all your
Yeah,
work while you're
totally.
being driven around.
I know. It was a great trip all in all. I was staying with family, so it's good to catch up with them. And then, lots of good meetings. I met with some clients and then some potential clients and some folks who are, like haven't really been engaged, which is great to kind of hear their perspective and whatnot. So kind of a mix of different folks, which, you know, I think in a lot of ways for me, it just kind of reinvigorates why I'm doing all this,
hmm
because it's like, yes, if you talk to the same people over and over and over again, you really get to understand them and that's wonderful. But then, you kind of are in a bit of a fishbowl, right? A bit of
Yeah.
a bubble. And so it's really good, I think, to get outside of that and to hear what other people are thinking and what they're going through and how, where they're at with sustainability or efficiency or cost savings or whatever you want to call it. So that was really inspiring. But man, there's some kind of underlying like fear-based mentality, people kind of, staying under the radar, that kind of thing, out there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty out there. I'm in Toronto the last week or so. A lot of my friends are in production film of various kinds, and I mean, things seem pretty busy here right now. But still, like I mean, a buddy of mine would said the industry's in a bit of a mess right now, and just sort of so it's like it just depends on who you talk to.
yeah,
Um, I mean, I think the industry is continuing to move forward. I mean, on the environmental side and sustainability side, that's sort of challenging. No one knows where that's going to land, and you know just so many other factors at play here that's like sustainability and environmental stuff it's kind of like taking a back seat. And so the question is like, but the challenges that we're addressing aren't going away.
no, no,
So it's like, okay, so we just got to like find different routes to addressing these things or inspiring people or, um, oh, really it comes down to dollars and cents, right?
yeah,
I mean, that's going to be a big one always, right? If it makes more sense, if you don't have to put gas in your car all the time.
right, right. Oh, speaking of, do you remember a little while ago, we interviewed Sherry Goodman? She has a
Yeah,
book,
yeah, yeah,
Threat Multiplier.
yeah.
Okay, I listened to her book in the car in LA while I was driving around. And let me just say, shout out to Sherry. Hello. Like that
Mm,
book is great and it's
really?
intense and she talks about all sorts of things. I am telling you, like to get an understanding of complex systems and leverage and, geopolitical happenings and just kind of a
Mm.
lay of the land in that regard, this is the book. She covers all of it, all of it. So,
Yeah, it's complicated system. It's complex systems.
yes,
hmm
complex systems. And yet, somehow, folks are finding their footing in environmental stewardship and awareness and national security and pulling it all together. And it's like, it's impressive. And I'm thinking, well, if they can do all of that in this massive, like, military defense, geopolitical landscape, we can do this in entertainment. Like, this
Hmm.
is ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Like, I had the
Yeah.
feeling of like, okay, honestly, so
Yeah.
definitely
I agree.
recommend it. So,
There's no question. I mean, this is the easiest industry to do this in. Like, no brainer. Um, yeah, I'm sure we'll figure it out. That's
yeah.
for sure.
Oh, well,
Uh,
I think so.
yeah, maybe not. Who knows? A meteor is gonna take us out before then.
Yeah, or
Uh,
something. Or something.
yeah. Also, one thing we wanted to chat about was yeah, the Coldplay. So we saw Coldplay here in early July, and we were hoping to get our interview with Show Power out this month or like last week, but we've decided to put it on pause until the fall to make
Mhm.
sure that yeah we have all of our ducks in a row and make sure that all the powers that be sign off on it. And
Yeah.
so yeah, so we feel good about that.
Yeah.
But it's a good interview, and it was so much fun to go to that show and just see that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, I think it's really important to make sure that in these kinds of situations when things are new and different and, exciting, that everybody's comfortable with the rollout of it. And so
Yeah.
good
So
to
shout out to Show Power,
I
right?
know.
Paul and Lawrence and everybody for welcoming us,
I know.
and yeah, and we look forward to figuring out what day and when that interview comes out because what they're doing is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's super exciting. And yeah, we'll let you all know.
Yeah,
We're excited, so we'll keep you posted on that one. So,
totally. And then our interview coming out after our little banter here
mhm.
was with Sabrina Torres. So we're excited for everybody to listen to that. I mean, she's just so passionate and is bringing community back into watching movies.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, this is the thing, like, these are people like finding a way, and she's doing it. She's out there doing it. And one of the things I love, for years I've been saying, we need to give people agency and empower them and all this, but people hear that in different ways and kind of, this, what she's doing is totally in that vein. So, folks are getting excited, coming together, kind of reinvigorating their love for filmmaking. And I don't know, it was a really great conversation. So,
Totally. She reminds me a little bit of Robert Diaz Leroy, who also mentioned that like, he goes to see movies all the time with his
yeah.
son too. And they love to go see these sort of rare movies that don't get shown anywhere else. And I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's so cool. I
Yeah,
used to go to movies all the time, and I'm like, I don't even remember the last time I went to a theater to see a movie. It's kind
I
of crazy.
know. When I was young and single and living in Pasadena, California, I would go every Friday and see whatever had come out. And there was a time when I had basically seen everything
Yeah.
in the theater, and, I'd had to figure something else out for my Friday night. But that was me. I would go every week.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I would go to art house wherever I
Hmm.
was in the world. I'd go to find the art house theater and go on like whatever Tuesday, Wednesdays, and
Yeah.
yeah, which reminds me, I gotta go see some movies.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Well, we would love to hear what you're all listening to and watching. There's some really cool stuff out there right now.
Mm.
So write us in, go to the website, write in, let us know what you're up to, and
Yeah,
we'd love to hear it. And please, please like and subscribe. And most importantly, I think, is just share the podcast with a friend, because This is, the way that we get the stories out there, what people are doing behind the scenes, the really cool information, and just, spreading good vibes about
Hmm.
sustainability or efficiency or climate change or cost savings or whatever you're
Exactly.
calling it.
Cost savings.
Cost savings. That was just
So boring.
kind of figure it out.
Yeah.
Dynamic equilibrium. I mean, it could be anything, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. All
Love it.
right. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the tie-in. Today, we're here with Sabrina Torres, who is a producer and the founder and head programmer of the Great Film Club. She founded the Great Film Club to champion independent filmmakers and provide a consistent in-person platform for screening short films. Rooted in accessibility, collaboration, and creative risk taking, Sabrina's work challenges traditional industry gatekeeping in favor of authenticity and community. So, this is very exciting. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank
Welcome.
you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, this is I'd love to hear about your work and how you came to start the Great Film Club. We keep hearing that independent filmmaking is on the rise, and I feel like you're fostering this wonderful community. Can you kind of describe your journey and how this all came to be?
Yeah, so I started the film club while working at a children's theater, and I would rent the place out for a discounted rate, and I would just host once a month. I would invite filmmakers I knew from making a short film that I've made previously, and just kept going. And it was really crazy because from 1 month, had struggled to get 12 a month, 12 submissions a month, till 1 month getting like over 200. And that's the
Wow.
power of social media because I just kept posting all the time. And it was very convenient too because it was happening during the actor and writer strike where it really blew up because people were looking for sanctuary after being laid off from their jobs. I remember that first day we had like 100 people show up to the theater, and they told me they were being laid off from their jobs. And that was the start of people really need this and really crave like something that isn't really in this industry. They just crave being creative and having a space to make their own opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
So what year was that?
This is going to be our 3-year anniversary of the Great Film Club.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
this is
Yeah.
this is great. I mean, we talk a lot about this on this podcast and also in key markets where obviously the traditional major motion picture stuff work is down. Vancouver, for example, LA. Um, but this plays right into this sort of newer narrative, right? Around we've got all these talented folks, all this equipment, everybody is
Talented.
there, right? And it's like, okay, how do we foster these communities to incentivize and promote indie film? This should be the golden era in some form or another for indie film.
It
Uh,
is.
yeah.
It really is. I always believe this is the best time in independent filmmaking. And I tell people that all the time. People come to the film club and they're bummed. They're like, I don't know what you mean by that, Sabrina. And I say, no, man, you don't understand. Like, yeah, it may take like $1 million to make your own film or whatever. And yeah, that may be hard to find investors to do that. But if you have a film, you get ownership in how you want to distribute it now. And
Right.
I think that's very different than having a script and then trying to get a production company to do it. I mean, you can still do that in some capacity and work with independent production companies and whatnot, but it really is you can have your own agency when it comes to your work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So can we break that down a little bit just because this is so interesting. So what can you just, I guess, high level or however you want to describe like kind of the traditional model and then what this new, how we're rethinking how folks are kind of finding their way in this like what independent filmmaking is or is starting to be.
Yeah, well, I think what it's been for a long time is people, and here's the thing, it's like the Wizard of Oz, right? The wizard. is pretending to be something he's not, and then you see that he's just a regular guy. I think that's what's happening right now. I think people are realizing I can do this too.
Hmm.
I can run my own production company. I can run my own distribution company. And that's what's happening, because before it was like I have a script and I just want somebody to make the movie with my script. Now it's like, wait a minute, I could buy a camera. Wait a minute, I have a camera. Like
Right.
I can do this myself. So I just think that we that's what I love about the film club. When people get there, they're empowered. They see
Yeah.
all these amazing creatives, and they see that hey, let's just all work together. Let's get each other's digits. Let's see if we vibe, and then let's make a real, like, let's make something amazing. And it all happens authentically. I mean, you're not just gonna partner up with anybody you meet. It's gonna happen authentically, and that's what I love about the film club too. Is that now we're doing the film club every week at Dave and Buster's. So, there's even more accessibility and consistency with meeting people from all over Los Angeles.
Right. So then maybe tell us a little bit about the Great Film Club. Exactly like what it is that you guys are doing. Is there a certain theme? Like is every week this a different theme?
So I
How
do,
many people are coming in?
yeah, so I do basically film showcases every week. So usually we have a few events that we do consistently. So we do our short film open mics. Basically anything under 10 minutes gets to go up, whether it's good or bad. Um, and then we have our great films night. That's a curated screening. Anything under 10 minutes, anything 0 to 20 minutes basically gets curated along, and gets rated. Whatever's the highest rated of the month gets to go up. And then we have our Rainbow Reels night, where it's for queer filmmakers. And I think that queer filmmakers need to be seen more. So we have that event. It doesn't matter what you did on the film. If you want to go up and present it, you can go up and present it. And that one's a really fun one as well. And then we have a Real Ladies Night. And again, just like with queer filmmakers, we're advocating for women, um, people who identify with being a woman, celebrating femininity. Um, and like same thing with the queer nights. It's, just if you are a woman, identify as one, it goes up. Though all those are like that's a curated event. All the rest of them are curated events, except for like the short film open mic. Anything under 10 minutes goes up. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right.
See, it seems like it's just a great way for folks, even if they're new to this or new to doing it themselves. Maybe they've worked in the industry for a while and whatnot, but just kind of,
Yeah.
it's a great space to, put take that extra step and put your stuff in front of an audience and just see what the reaction is. That's also such a great learning experience and just kind of maybe confidence builder too.
Yeah, I always think about it as, people are not going to learn how the film affects anybody from watching it on the phone. Like, I think at the end of the day, you realize that people need an audience. Like, it's so important just to have your film screen. You don't know how anybody's going to react to it, because you can
Mhm.
ask your crew or your cast, like, how is this reacting? But they're on that ride with you. And, you just want a bunch of strangers to watch it. And, you know, that the film club is a great way to do that. I really think of it as nurturing people's craft. I
Yeah.
really do. Like, this is a space where you nurture people's craft and give voice, or just to celebrate if it didn't get into festival, because we all know that the film festival circuit is a gamble. You don't know, like, if you're gonna get in or not.
Yeah.
You don't. You spend, like, I know people that spend roughly $2,000 to more just to be seen at these film festivals, and they're crazy, submission fees. Like, I seen like from 50 to $100. I mean, that's normal though, and they need that for their organizations, and that's totally its own thing, and it makes sense. But for hard times that are happening right now, especially in the economy and this political landscape, like, people need something that's accessible. And with the film club, it's free to submit, but yeah, you have to pay for a ticket support. But at least it's free to submit, and you know that you're paying because you're paying to support this grassroots film organization, and keep it going.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
And the power of community, right? I mean, I think this is at the end of the day, people are still yearning to connect in real time, in real life with real community. And we see that everywhere, all over the place. And this is just one that film lovers and indie filmmakers. But you're in LA. Are you also in other cities? Is this something that is looking to grow organically into other markets to support those local filmmakers?
I would love to do it everywhere, honestly. We had a little one going in San Francisco. Hopefully over time that builds more. But one that is just as consistent, I would say, is in New York. Right now we have the other Sabrina. So
Mm.
funny. She I met her at our Real Ladies Night recently, and she said she wanted to help, and she stays in New York. And I was like, great, like let's talk. And the past 2 months she's been doing our doing our Great Films Night over there. It's only once a month though, but we are building, constantly building, really trying to find partners right now that can build with us. And if the scene demands it though, because every city's different. Like not every city is a film city. It's
Right.
not. So I do believe that the rise in independent filmmaking, that's going to change. That's
Hmm.
going to change a lot. I think we will see more people making more films. Um, so the future
Yeah,
is, there's so many opportunities there.
Yeah,
absolutely. Vancouver needs one.
I
Oh yeah,
know.
I get my Canadians all the time online telling me come to Canada,
Yeah.
and I gotta
Toronto,
get a
Toronto, Vancouver.
passport.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll let
Yeah.
you in.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And I mean, I can't, like, this is the kind of thing that when I don't know, I see it when people are excited, when they're happy, when they're working in community, when they've got folks to lean on and talk to. And it just makes the local industry thrive. And then we start doing like collectively great things in, a local jurisdiction. Have you seen like, over the last couple years or so, as this has kind of taken on momentum and you've got more folks coming out and lots of submissions and these sorts of things, have you seen any interesting, films go on to do, other things, or like what has been kind of the
Yeah,
ripple effect?
I've seen some films go to Sundance. Like but my favorite thing, like that's great and everything, but my favorite thing is seeing that one filmmaker make an average, beginner film, and then over time creates this masterpiece, and just see how well their craft has developed.
Hmm.
I know some production companies that, were just okay and now they're amazing because they worked on it.
Mhm.
And one of my favorite things is actually people saying that, I made this film and it wouldn't have happened if I didn't meet somebody at the Great Film Club. And
Yeah.
that's my favorite thing. That's what they say when they present it, and it goes up, and because it really just shows the ripple effects of what this is doing. Um, so that's my favorite thing. I've seen there's so many other talents that have just came through too, that um have worked on, in the industry. I know like Ari Frankel, he's come in. He's worked on Silicon Valley and I'm a Virgo as a supporting role. Um, I get Gary Conrad from Fairy Odd Parents. He was there. He's an animated director for Fairy Odd Parents. He's great too. Those are just the two I can remember on the top of my head. And but yeah, like it's fair game. Like you don't know who's going to come in at the Great Film Club. You just don't. And sometimes I don't even recognize people. Like I really don't. Like some people are like, "Did you know who was here?" And I'll be like, "Who?" They'll be like, "So and so," and I'll be like, "Oh, okay, all right." I'm also not easily amazed by celebrities. I'm really
I,
not. Like I'm really not, because I mean I grew up in Los Angeles. I see them all the time. Literally at the coffee shop the other day, I saw like Will Smith's son, Trey. His oldest one, not Jaden or Willow, but Trey. And I noticed him. I was like, that's Trey, but I didn't like go up to him. I didn't feel like there was a need to. You know what I
yeah.
mean? It's just like let them go about their day. I don't have any. I know who they are, but. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I just, you know, I just don't feel like going up to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I mean, I'm I'm originally from Texas, and like I say, like it was always a goal of mine to get out to California, and somehow I knew I was going to work in entertainment, but I didn't quite know how that was going to play out, but here I am. Um, but I feel like folks who, from outside of LA, or like just the allure of California in general, have this like image of what it's all like, because it's stories they hear, and certain curated, if you will, things that they might see online, or in films or
Mhm.
whatever. There's kind of stereotype of like what this all is, and
Yeah.
it's
I saw
it's so
this
interesting.
one, yeah, I saw this one Instagram reel or TikTok where this it's it looks like it kind of looks like somebody is doing a skip, but she's not. She was on the Euphoria, and her name is I think her name is Nalia King. She was on Euphoria, and you see that she's working as a dishwasher of some sort at a restaurant, and it captions like, people keep asking me, are you in support, are you in Euphoria season 3? And she's like, no, this is me working now. And it's just so real, like she's actually working at a restaurant, and it just shows you that the industry doesn't really take care of the actors, like over, they're so famous, they give them fame, right? But they don't really take care of them, you
Yeah.
know in that sense. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so interesting. Like, every time I watch a movie, I watch to the end of the credits, because working in this industry and working with, on production and with so many crew members, and, hearing them talk about their craft, and, then seeing these sets that are like amazing, and,
Yeah.
things like that. And I'm always so, in awe of what, the people can do, and their craft, and how, just logistically, they solve problems, and all sorts of things. And I always feel like, for me, it's like my little bit of respect, or whatever, to actually acknowledge every single person and watch to the end of the credits. And,
Yeah.
when I go to the theater and whatnot, folks are like, all right, let's go. And I'm like, no, no, no. We
Yeah.
still got a lot of people to thank here. So,
Yeah, and it's because the credits are important, especially when you work in this industry. You want to know who was on the project. My
yeah.
favorite thing too at the film club is I play everything until the end of the credits. Sometimes some filmmakers are like, "It's okay, you can cut over it." I'm like, "No, no, no. We're watching it because because then I get other reactions like, "Oh my God, I know that person." Like just randomly, they're like, "Oh, they worked on that," just like they just say it, like they recognize the name, they know who that is, and it makes a more communal experience.
Totally, totally. I know I had a little moment once. I was on a plane, and I watched a movie, and I played to the end of the credits, and I was looking, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have worked with that crew." And I didn't know
Yeah,
that they like, so I recognized like a whole slew of names. It was super cool. Anyway.
yeah,
But just an interesting note, though, like things like Netflix, they do try to minimize the credits right away, right? As soon as it's in
because
the
they're not
credits,
getting
they kind of like
views.
they're like, "Hmm, yeah, exactly,
Yeah, I guess
And they
that's
want people to stay on the app as long as possible. Like
exactly."
the way, working on social media, and you realize that it's really who's on the app as long as possible. And the only way you go viral is if you keep posting. It really is as simple as that. And also keeping it engaged. So that's the thing, like Netflix, Hulu, TikTok, they're all competing against one another. YouTube's all competing against one another. And and I have to say, my sister, she's a content creator, and she has like over 100K views. Shout out at Chiaverse. But she, I would say that the best one that really cares for the creators is YouTube.
Yeah,
YouTube.
Yeah.
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 Do you find that I mean, I feel like there's a shift in how we've consumed content over the years, because platforms have come up and these sorts of things, but is there like, Are you seeing anything like, are we getting, shorter with all of our content, or because our attention spans are, kind of tuned to social media, or are people liking kind of, mid-length or even still long form? Like, what do you see in that space?
I don't think people want short form content like like all the creators are making. I don't think people like advertisements. Nobody's ever liked advertisement, not even in the day of commercials. Like, I think people still crave a really good show.
Yeah.
Like, because those are communal experiences. I think people, like, if you've been seeing, there's a rise in watch parties. People love a good, like right now, like I saw recently at Dave and Buster's, they did a Love Island watch
Oh yeah.
party, and there was a bunch of people there. And people want that communal experience. Like when you would, like back in the day when you would watch TV and you'll wait till like Friday to see like that one show. Like people still want that because they still want something to talk about the next day and to feel
Yeah.
excited for the next week. Like people still want that. That doesn't go away. I think what it is happening though is people. I don't think people really want short form content, but I think that what's happening is just like when in 2009, when the aspect ratio was this big, they made it widescreen. I
Hmm.
think that's what's happening. It's like we're at widescreen. Okay, now let's make something for social media. So I think things like that are happening. But honestly, the way it's looking is it looks more likely that something like YouTube or Netflix is going to reward longer content entirely over short form. And you see that on TikTok already. TikTok like definitely gives money to creators who make anything over a minute and 30 seconds. And
Hmm.
so the longer your content is, the better for them. Because they like that. They want the people on the app as long as possible. But the idea is the first 3 seconds have to be engaging
Yeah.
to be that way you don't change the channel. That way you don't flip it.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what's going on right now. I think that's what they're seeing with their data is like, okay, we're gonna prioritize longer form content, but it needs to be engaging in the beginning.
Right.
Because once you
And,
got people in the beginning, like they're gonna more likely watch it through the end.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we've seen this with podcasts. I think that's been, if anything, it's a sort of a precursor for what you're supporting, what you're saying, right? People don't have a problem listening to a 1 to 3 hour podcast anymore. Like, I
No,
mean,
they
they do
love
it,
podcasts.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
like, yeah,
it's so interesting. Yeah, because when we were starting this podcast, totally independently, by the way, like we didn't know what we were
Yeah.
doing, but we're like, you know what, we're going to do it, and
still
just
don't.
we still don't know. We're making it up as we go. Um, but people have been supportive and written in, and we hear about it, so that's good. But like when we first started, we were thinking, okay, we've got to keep it tight, keep it to 30 minutes, or 45 max or whatever. And then, it was really hard to do because we'd get into conversations and stuff, and we were kind of like, ah, let's just see what happens. And it's all around, give, an hour or
Yeah.
whatever, but we're not strict now, and we're not, trying to it. Anyway, it hasn't like been a negative experience. If anything, it's positive. And I think with anything, if people want to pause, like we have a pause button, you know what I mean? It's not live TV. So,
Yeah, it's still production. It's
yeah.
still full-fledged production. But you're doing it yourself, and basically you're giving yourself a lot more work, and or you're having some sort of intern, editing it, and so because everybody's at this point is starting from square one,
Yeah.
like everybody has to start
Yeah.
from the beginning
You way to
with
push a
no
reset.
budget.
Yeah. That's exactly. It's kind of like the great reset for the great film club. I mean, this is like,
Yeah.
there's no rules anymore, right? Um, and just
It is a
curious, I
great
mean,
reset.
yeah, we,
Yeah.
we obviously we speak a lot about sustainability and whatever that word means, but sustainability in production. And I'm just curious if you're starting to see or hear about folks doing their productions with, without a generator, or doing it as eco as possible, or different things like that, because we can do that now, especially with batteries and cameras, and lighting is low impact.
low impact locations, things like that. Are you starting to get a feel for the submissions that are coming in that are actually accentuating that feature in their production?
Obviously, a lot of films that, you'd be really surprised though, because you would think that certain films are have a huge budget or something, but they're really low. They're really
Yeah.
low budget. Like they like people have gotten so creative with their set dressing.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes I get film submissions. They're like, no, this was all shot in one location. We just moved it around. So they're taking more time on the work, you
Yeah.
know? So there's that aspect. You'll be surprised too. A lot of people, you'd be surprised. Like it's not all black magics or Aries. Like sometimes it's the iPhone. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you don't know until they tell you after, and they're like, it's like a hidden secret because they know how it works, you know. So it really like a lot of this is scrappy. But I mean, you have this frame, right? You have this frame. And you got to make that frame look as good as possible. So, if anything, I see so many people becoming more just more specific, like Stanley Kubrick was. I just see people caring more about what's in the frame,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and um, and I see people also like um, investing more in the post production
Oh, yeah.
because sound, color, um, is so important. Editing is so important nowadays. So I just see that happening more
Hmm.
often. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, in the production process, I feel, yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a complete, like element of creativity in terms of like what materials you're going to use, how you're going to use a set, like where you're going to get that stuff. And it's so interesting. And I've talked to independent filmmakers because, yeah, you're right. Like they're looking at everything and all resources they can find to make this story, not just like, all right, we're going to build a thing in a sound stage, like the set in a sound stage. They're looking at the environment around them and the living room, just, what I mean, just every piece of every resource they can, which is so cool and so creative. So I just find it interesting.
Yeah, I see people investing in set dressers big time. Set dressers have a big, even on podcasts, set dressing in podcasts and set
Mm-hmm.
dressing on films. I mean, I think one of the things that filmmakers like, if I could like really tell filmmakers what they should, especially if they're already established and they have their writing, they already have their routine and everything. I think what
Yeah.
I would tell them is invest in making webisodes or episodics and feature films, because if you want to be competitive in the market, I think that's what I see. That's what the big things like Netflix or Hulu want, because eventually they're gonna want us back. like, like
Yeah.
that's the way I see it. It's like you can only go so long with this AI writing for so long, you know. So I see that like eventually they're just gonna catch on and be like, okay, I'll buy this idea. We'll do, because everything will be a pitch, right?
Yeah.
Like
Mm-hmm.
Issa Rae we saw with Insecure and whatnot. So I think that's where we're going.
So you mentioned AI.
Yeah,
So
I was just gonna say.
I know, I saw you and I was like, so can you talk a little bit about that? What are you seeing, how are people using it?
They don't like it, but
They don't? Okay.
especially
Oh.
animators hate AI right now because it literally wipes them out. But I do see some people getting really creative with it. Like especially if they're like all in one team, like they're one person doing everything. I see some really creative stuff sometimes coming out of that. And I mean, obviously that's a craft too. Like you
Yeah.
can't just, not every AI looks great. Like there's people that actually know how to work that.
Yeah.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
not, so that's its own craft.
Mm-hmm.
How to work with the AI, because there's some
Yeah.
AI that doesn't look too great. But I will tell you this though, in the credits they have to always acknowledge the software they use. So that's really
Okay.
interesting. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
look for that just to
Yeah.
Yeah,
see,
you're gonna see
right?
that. You're gonna see that people are acknowledging softwares, and you're gonna be like,
Yeah.
huh? Like we give credit. They worked on this. And it's not
Uh-huh.
people, it's softwares.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just another tool in the toolbox, right? At the end of the day, I mean, I think you said it earlier, it's still great about the great story and I think pulling the community together. I mean, I think you've really hit the nail on the head there, right? I mean, people
Hmm.
still want to be with each other and feeling those laughs and feeling that impact. And if AI is a part of that, I mean, that's just another tool that we're going to be using, and it's not going away.
And if they're really good at what they do with AI, people are not going to
Yeah,
notice.
yeah, or they're not
Yeah.
going to care,
They're not
or
going to
they'll
care.
notice and they'll be shocked how good it is.
Well, only filmmakers care because that's their competitor, right?
Right.
But regular everyday people that are not in film or in the arts, they don't care.
Yeah. They
They
do
just
not
don't.
know the level of
Interesting.
detail there is to make a film, like the process, the tools, the software, any of that.
They don't.
So,
They don't. And that's not their job to. That's our job, you
hmm.
know? So I'd say it like, yeah, a lot of filmmakers, they're gonna have to become more entrepreneurial.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the
yeah,
future. And people like to cry a river about it, but that's how you're gonna stay competitive and that's how you're gonna stay in the game. If that's what
absolutely.
you want. If you want to sit around and make art, that's the film club's there for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, it's
Yeah.
but we are seeing. I mean, every day, we hear how so many even yesterday, like LA's a wasteland, and Vancouver. There's like a couple of productions happening here right now versus everybody, and everybody's sitting around. And I was speaking to somebody the other day, and they're like, you know, I'm not just gonna go and convince my friends to try to like work for free or for nothing, and I can go get a few gigs a month, and I'm okay. Like I'm not gonna go out of my way to do independent stuff or whatever. And I was just like, huh, like that's the sort of, I get it, right? I mean, especially if you're later in your career, right? Because going out there and doing indie production does take a lot of time and energy and basically
have to be
bootstrap
an
for no.
innovator. And
Yeah,
you know, and you really see now like who's giving up on film because it's not giving them a job anymore.
right.
And really shows like it really shows the difference between a worker and a visionary and an innovator. And that's just the bottom line. And I think right now what film the future of filmmaking is innovating. This is
Mm.
Mm,
that's why I say this is the greatest time in independent filmmaking
I
because
agree.
we're really going to see who's in the game, who's
Yeah,
actually in it, and and that just takes time and consistency and resilience.
Hmm.
I love it.
Hmm.
It's like startup, man. It's anything, right? I mean, this is like the startup world has been doing this for a long time, right? And
Hmm.
now we're truly in that same vein of you gotta like do it for free on evenings and weekends. You gotta put it together, and then
But
you
it's
gotta get
always
people to
been like
convince it.
that.
It's a
It sure has. You're
reinvention. It's a
right. You're
It's
right.
reinvention,
always been
right?
like that.
Yeah.
Like if you ask the greatest filmmakers, they always say this. They're like, yeah, you know, I had to find money somewhere. Like they're
Hmm.
always saying that. Like the like was it who who freaking said this? But anyways, one of the one filmmaker, really well-known filmmaker, I think he just died. But he literally said that it's about the will to make it. It's
Hmm.
about the will to get it done. It doesn't matter who's getting paid or who's not. You know, like if it's made, it's made.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. I do feel though that this is a time of reinvention, right? We're kind of at this crossroads of like how we want to do things and where filmmaking is going and like there are all these questions about, the industry and how are we treating people and all sorts of things and I think we're at this kind of nexus of like
Yeah.
reinvention. So
And it scares people because they rather
Yeah.
complain and they rather
that's
say
Hmm.
true.
something's taking my job than taking responsibility and accountability and autonomy for their own work. And that's
Yeah,
just the bottom
there's
line. People might get upset at me for saying that, but it's true. They'll be like, you know what you're saying? You haven't been working forever, but I mean, this is what I see. I see like if you make your own work, if you have your own agency, you can get far.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you and as part of the Great Film Club, are you seeing offshoots coming out like maybe some mentorship programs or other sort of I know you guys do like a mix and mingle after every showing. Are you seeing anything or a demand from your viewers that want a little bit more or something else that can help continue to foster that community?
Like I have a full job with the Great Film Club, and we just created a production arm, so we have California Sober as like our production company, and there's so much that we're doing, but I can't wait to get like proper funding. It's a lot of work because then I can do things like that. I
Yeah.
can like, get some mentorship programs going on and really give to the community in that way. Right now we are starting our nonprofit journey, so we're waiting. We're pending on that status right now. But it's gonna, there's so like I get so excited about the future. I really do. I just can't wait to find out who's that who's that millionaire who's willing to do it.
Yeah,
I
I
just
Yeah.
can't
love
wait.
And
that.
maybe
But
they're listening right now.
yeah, no, seriously. And until then, like it's all grassroots. Everybody pitches
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
on a ticket, and that's how we keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
In Canada, there are organizations here that are quasi-government agencies that do funding for certain things
Hmm.
like this as well. I'm not sure if that exists, probably does in some form or another, but I thought that's kind of interesting that,
You have to be
yeah,
Canadian,
I think you have to have a Canadian, you have to
Yeah.
be a Canadian company.
I'm
However,
sure.
but I don't know. I think it's worth exploring setting up like a Canadian division and seeing because Toronto's
I
massive
should, because
market.
if things happen in America, I need salvation.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
I don't know, just something to think about.
I know a great organization you can collaborate with, and I'll put you in touch with the Sustainable Entertainment Society. It's our sister nonprofit. Anyway, there are like
Amazing.
there are yeah, it's
Hmm.
I think there are lots of opportunities.
Yep.
So, yeah, I know. We're all thinking about Canada.
I'm just
Where we
like,
can
I'm like, that
go.
might be just a safe haven. I might go there, or Mexico. I might just go back to my motherland.
There you
Like,
go.
Yeah. Well, the beautiful thing is it's a replicable model, and wherever you go, there's the same desire for making independent content and bringing people together, right? So
Yeah,
it's amazing.
totally. Totally. Well, I'm curious to get your take on
right,
this as you've gone through this journey and the
right.
community that you're seeing and all of this. If you were to create, a playbook for what you're doing, what would be, one or two guiding principles that you would include in that?
Social media. That's the biggest thing. I wouldn't have gotten this far if I wasn't posting every day, 5 times a day, like how I've been. I don't have to post as much because the page has gotten big enough where it sustains itself. But
Okay.
even then, if I want to continue growing, if I want eyes continue, like I still have to make, content. So social media, you got to bust your behind to grow that. And people that if you're starting any type of business, social media, it's
Hmm.
free, it's accessible, and it's yeah, you have to grind and make content and be creative, but you that's how you get eyes on your
Yeah.
things. And
Yeah.
collaborating with other people, that's important. Staying open, um, making sure that the connections you make on the way there are authentic.
Yeah.
And they align with your mission and your values, because a lot of people say they do, and then you see them in action and they don't. And, it's just, those are hard things you have to go through, but it's what builds a backbone. Because no matter what, like anything you do, whether you're starting a business or you have a movement that you're creating, um, it requires discernment. And, I have a lot of integrity. Just recently, like, I'm just gonna say this because I was really flattered, but also like I was angry about this. But the one of the coordinators of Tesla said they wanted to sponsor our event, and I just ignored them because it's like fuck Tesla. I don't give a fuck. Like as long as Elon's in charge, like I don't want their money. They can have their money. I'll have my community. My community's doing just fine without your money. So I like I say, I have a lot of integrity. I know a lot of people wouldn't do that, but I think we have to hold people accountable. And one of the
Mhm.
ways we do that is pretend they don't exist. Um, and, I
On
mean,
social media.
yeah, social media, and but yeah, so just go on social media, just focus on you. As long as you remember your why, you know, I constantly am always remembering my why. Every time I do the film club, I remember why. I'm like, oh, it's community. I'm like, oh, it's the people. Every time I hear people's stories, even if they've been industry professionals forever and worked on commercials or whatever, like they come to me and they said, I think you're onto something. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
I, that's fulfilling. Or anytime somebody says, I made this short film because I met people at the film club, like,
Yeah.
you know, that makes me remember why. So
Yeah.
it takes time and making, it's a lot about character too. Like, are you the person that's resilient or do you just give up?
Mhm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so my playbook is social media. That's a big thing.
I
Yeah.
love
And
it.
and meeting everybody, staying connected.
Yeah.
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 That's
I
so
love it.
important. Yeah. Well, congratulations on all of your work. And can you tell everyone where they can find you? Social media, film club. Give us the
Yeah.
details.
So you can find us on Instagram at The Great Film Club or on TikTok at The Great Film Club, or you can find us on our website, thegreatfilmclub.com. And we have a upcoming film festival happening from August 22nd to the 24th called the Great Film Festival. So
Fun.
definitely come on there. There's some great local stuff happening at the Eastwood.
Eastwood. And is it every
Fun.
week as well? Your recurring series?
Oh no, this oh yeah. So the Great Film Club's every week. The Great Film Festival is our annual film festival.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Fun. All
In
right,
LA. In
everyone.
LA and New York.
In LA,
In New York every
monthly
month.
in New York, the Great Film Club.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Thanks.
everyone, look it up and go join community. This is so fun.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Our designer is Aaliyah Kane. Music is by Peter Chapman. Social media is by Picnic Social. Our producer is Colin Miller.